Hello, my name is Mark Birch, Global Startup Advocate at AWS. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Aharon Twizer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Control Monkey.
How customers experience Control Monkey? How is it actually improving their day-to-day?
Yeah, so Control Monkey is basically a cloud governance SaaS platform that helps to discover and manage scale customers' cloud environments by leveraging infrastructure as code. So infrastructure as code and Terraform are ways to manage your cloud, not in a manual processing. It's also known as ClickOps, right? When you go to the AWS console and click create this instance or update that instance, which is very error prone, hard to audit and hard to review, right? And then resolve problems before they happen actually. And Control Monkey brings all the tools to manage all of your cloud environment with infrastructure as code. So the platform automatically generates Terraform code that represent existing AWS environment. So if you already have resources not managed with infrastructure as code, we can migrate those to infrastructure as code in a click of a button. The system also gives you good visibility to your cloud account to understand what's actually being managed by infrastructure as code and what isn't. Just like how good are you with managing everything with infrastructure as code? And it also gives you this centralized place to manage all of your infrastructure. So before everything goes to production, there is a single pipeline, kind of like Terraform change management, that different stakeholders in the organization can apply their guardrail, best practices, policy. So again, you can catch mistakes and errors and configuration errors before they even get to production. So it's kind of like shift lifting all of your infrastructure management. And we help customers by doing that. So we have customers that are pretty veteran in the cloud. So they have resources or AWS account from 2015, 2016, 2017, and they just started to migrate to Terraform or start using infrastructure as code, and we help them with those projects. We also have other customers that are already using Terraform, and they just need better way for visibility and to manage their pipeline, to update and manage their existing infrastructure. So it's pretty interesting. The main value we bring to the table is like governance and being like in full control of all of your cloud resources.
Where did you start from? How did you go from wherever you started to this crazy thing called startups?
Yeah, so actually Control Monkey is my second startup. The first one was Spot.io, who got acquired by NetApp a few years ago. So the startup experience is not new to me, but the CEO world is new to me, right? So he's in the rest experience, I was the CDO. Now I'm the CEO. It's kind of funny because between those two startups, I worked for AWS.
That's right.
Yeah, so it was interesting, and after like 2.5 years in AWS, I felt like I want something new. I found this problem that I really want to solve, and I just decided to go for it. Taking in consideration all like the good things in startups, the bad things in startups. So it's not an easy thing to do, but I decided to go for it.
So
yeah.
Tell me about how you came upon the idea, this problem you saw out there that you uniquely could solve for it.
Yeah, so the problem that we're trying to solve is the day two cloud operations. And I saw part of it when I worked at AWS, right? So I saw a lot of customers managing a lot of big AWS environments. And this growth in the cloud, this speed in the cloud brings complexity. And I thought, how can I solve this complexity, right? Because at the end of the day, this complexity, it translates to misconfiguration, to service interruptions, unplanned cloud costs, right? And me and my partner, Ori, which is the CTO of Control Monkey, we sat together and we thought, how can we solve it, or what is our solution for that problem? And this is how we came up with Control Monkey.
So in the process of taking that idea, how did you then evolve it into the actual product? Did you work with customers? How was that process?
Yeah. So first of all, I talked with a lot of people, right? So I have an idea in my head, which is great, but maybe the idea is only in my head, right? And the problem and the solution is only in my head. So I talked with a lot of people from the industry to really understand whether there is a problem and whether our solution is good for them, right? So that's like the first thing of like validating that a solution is actually a solution for a real problem, right? That's the first thing. And then we started, we founded the company, we started to build the product. And right away, we had some design partners, right? We had some companies that were willing to try the product and give us feedback, like engage customers. That's super helpful. And I think, I'm not sure if it's specific for Israel, but design partner is something that a lot of Israeli startups do to get feedback, right? So we started with the product. We build an MVP. Like AWS, we're customer obsessed. So we want to get feedback from customers all the time because, no matter what ideas we have in our head about features and capabilities, the customer knows best. And this is why we kept on, and we're still keeping, talking with customers to get their feedback, to hear their pains, to hear their problems, and to make sure that our product and our solution can actually help them.
Were there any signals that you picked up on as you're working with customers that said to you that you hit upon the problem, that we have some product traction here?
So I think the best signal is that our design partners converted to paying customers, right? So the design partnership was like free of charge, like go try our system or product, give us feedback. And then at some point we moved from like design partnership phase to commercial phase. And all of our design partners were willing to pay and stay with us, which is like the great or like the best deal you can get, right? Someone is actually willing to write the check and pay you for the thing that you build.
Yeah, that's the best signal of all, revenue.
Yeah.
So given that, what do you see for the future? I mean, is it more you're refining a product? Is it maybe different markets potentially? Is it maybe even fundraising?
So we're basically only 6 months out there, so pretty young startups. And I think everything you mentioned is probably on our roadmap, right? We need to get more funding, and we want to get to more markets, like geographically, Europe and the US. And we also have a lot of planning for our product, like feature requests from customers and ideas that we want to do and more technologies that we want to explore. So I guess, all of those.
So you're in an interesting position because now you've done a startup, now you have your own startup again.
Mm-hmm.
What lessons do you take from this? And particularly as I guess now we can call you serial entrepreneur, is there something you are doing differently now than what you did previously?
That's a good question. I think let's start with the things that I do the same, right? So I think also the last startup, we were always trying to be customer obsessed, right? Start from the customer and work backward. Right. That's like AWS, one of the LPs of AWS, but we really implement it. So I think also here we always love to talk with the customer. And I think that as a second timer, to work, so you work hard, but you also work smart, right? Because you have experience, what to do, what not to do, how to run a deal flow, how to do marketing better. So I guess I don't have like any good advice, but I guess the experience from the first time really helps in the second time, I guess.
No, I think that's really helpful advice because I think a lot of folks, they have that challenge, particularly if you've been a founder or maybe things didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know that most startups don't have this successful outcome.
Yeah.
But I think this gives a lot of hope for folks to maybe go back in,
right,
and realize that those lessons that they learned that first time can really help refine how they do things the second time around.
Absolutely. And I think going back to your question, I think like maybe I do have a good advice, right? So about how to be focused on what really matters, right? So in the product, in the marketing, in the sales, there's a lot of noise sometimes, and you need to be laser focused on where you invest your time. We only have 24 hours a day, unfortunately. and we need to be very precise on what tests, on what KPIs we put our effort on.
No, good point.
Yeah,
It's important to actually measure the things that you're actually working on so you can understand where you're investing the time most effectively.
absolutely.
Well, this has been brilliant. I really appreciate you coming down here to share a little bit about what you're building and what the future looks like. So, really great to have you.
Thank you very much, Mark. And
Thank you. And thank you for listening. Take care now. Bye.
bye-bye.